A fan is kicked out of the arena after throwing a bottle of beer at John Cena last night on SmackDown. Speaking of the WWE Champion, he gets RKO'd by Randy Orton ahead of their WWE Championship match tonight at Backlash. Aleister Black cuts his first promo since his WWE return and hits The Miz with Black Mass for the third time. Fraxium defeats the WWE Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits. Nia Jax is the #1 contender for the Women's Championship. Alexa Bliss returns to WWE TV, teaming with Zelina Vega. She also has a confrontation with Charlotte Flair after Flair made her first appearance since WrestleMania 41. Jey Uso versus Logan Paul reportedly is planned for the World Heavyweight Championship at an upcoming Saturday night's main event. Mercedes Moné is no longer the New Japan Strong Women's Champion. The Young Bucks team with the Good Brothers at New Japan Resurgence. Hiroki Goto is still the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. Konosuke Takeshita has retained his never openweight championship. Bea Priestley has made her New Japan Pro Wrestling in-ring debut. Deonna Purrazzo makes history by winning the first ever women's Pure Rules match on Ring of Honor TV. More details on WWE's plans for Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia. WWE officials reportedly are very high on Women's World Champion Io Sky. AEW's Willow Nightingale reportedly is in a contract year. WWE's ownership stake in AAA Lucha Libre has reportedly been revealed, and we've got plenty of more details on last week's shocking WWE releases. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Before we begin, you can see right there, we're at 21,468 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestle News universe. In addition, a reminder, we'll be live for tonight's WWE Backlash Premium Live events here on the channel. So be sure to join us live, not only for a watch-along, but also for a post-show. Let's get into all of the stories. As you saw in the intro there, we've got a stacked episode for you today, beginning with John Cena getting a bottle of beer thrown at him during SmackDown last night. Now, some people say, when it comes to fans, you're not part of the show, don't touch the wrestlers, and don't throw things at the wrestlers either. And that's a lesson, certainly, that a fan learned on WWE SmackDown last night. Now, fans may have noticed during John Cena's promo segment at the end of Friday Night SmackDown, someone threw a beer bottle at the WWE Champion. Cena played into it, even referencing the move in his interview, but he did not look too pleased. Now, that doesn't mean throwing the bottle was okay either. A different angle of the situation shows the fan in question as he threw the bottle and then proceeded to get escorted out by security as fans loudly booed him. In terms of a look at this, here is a video of the incident in question.
With his presence one last time. He is the last. He is the last real champion, John Cena!
Now, when it comes to Cena last night on SmackDown, as you heard from the ring announcer there, John Cena visited Dayton, Ohio for the last time as a WWE superstar, got a beer bottle thrown at him, promised to kill our childhoods, and ate another RKO. Cena came to the ring in Dayton, Ohio, assuming that Randy Orton would not attend. However, before he could get a word out of the final hype before the last match between Cena and Orton at Backlash, as I mentioned, someone in the audience threw an empty beer bottle at him. They missed, but Cena ensured that he would make everyone in the crowd aware of what he plans to do to them at Backlash. Cena vowed to kill everyone's childhood, no matter what. He said, "Our childhood will die because people will get to choose between him and Randy Orton for the last time." He then called Randy Orton a failure, like his 2006 drug test. He said that Orton is an embarrassment of what a WWE superstar should be, and the only thing his father ever did successfully was knock up Randy's mother. John Cena then posed with the WWE Championship and appeared one step ahead of what looked to be Randy Orton, coming to deliver an RKO from behind. However, after John Cena dropped that person with an attitude adjustment, the real Randy Orton appeared and successfully hit an RKO on John Cena from out of nowhere. As I mentioned, no matter what, they will clash one more time for the undisputed WWE Championship at Backlash. Now, as far as how many appearances John Cena has left before retiring, it's now 25. John Cena is scheduled to retire from in-ring competition this December, officially bringing his wrestling career to a close. Earlier this year, it was revealed he would make 36 appearances during his farewell tour. It is now down to 25 appearances after closing the May 9th episode of SmackDown, where he took out a Randy Orton doppelganger before being taken out with an RKO by the Viper. But of course, he will defend the undisputed WWE Championship tonight at Backlash against the Apex Predator. We heard from Aleister Black for the first time since returning to WWE. Aleister Black cut his first promo since returning to WWE, scored his second victory, and knocked The Miz out with a black mass for the third time. On the May 9th episode of SmackDown, Aleister Black cut his first promo by way of a vignette. While this was typical of his last run on the WWE main roster, Black called out the expected similarities and noted that he had buried the older version of himself. He said that upon doing so, he found the truth. He said that he believed he is the embodiment of the consequences WWE, and that everything for him is about so much more than good and evil. Later in the evening, he defeated Carmelo Hayes in singles action. While they got the victory with a roll-up, he immediately leveled The Miz, Hayes' tag team partner, and the man he defeated in his return match on May 2nd, with another Black Mass kick. So it looks like Aleister Black seemingly is not done with The Miz and Carmelo Hayes just yet. Now, we saw an upset last night when it comes to the WWE Tag Team Champions. First of all, speaking of the champions, of course, they retained their titles in a hellacious tables, ladders, and chairs match last week on the post-WrestleMania 41 edition of SmackDown. Edge, Christian, Matt, and Jeff Hardy, the Dudley Boys, Kane. These are the legends of tables, ladders, and chairs matches. And after the TLC match 2 weeks ago, pundits can add the Street Profits to that short list. At least that's according to the Profits themselves, as they believe they put on the best TLC match of all time. On Friday Night SmackDown, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins made their presence felt. They came out broken and bruised, but with the WWE Tag Team Championships in tow, they spent a few minutes bragging and boasting. Quote, "Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 2 weeks, the street's been the talk of the town," Montez Ford said. "I mean, think about it. We did put on the greatest TLC match of all time. The gorilla fears us. The blood, the sweat, the tears. Hell, we even used a prosthetic leg. I guess you could say we got a leg up on the competition." But with that being said, what happened is what always will happen. The Street Profits came out on top. Get used to it. Now, when it comes to what happened after that, well, Fraxium, the former NXT Tag Team Champions, they actually came out on top in this one. After a career-making TLC match on Friday Night SmackDown 2 weeks ago, the Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, returned to gloat and gleam in the ways only they can. As I mentioned, they took a beating in the TLC match, but Ford said he put on an absolute classics. Shortly thereafter, the Profits got a chance to prove that statement as they were challenged by the newly debuted Fraxium. After a brief stare-down between the two teams, Nick Aldis came out and made the match official right there and then. Though injured, the Street Profits put on another classic with Nathan Fraser and Axiom and proved that they do deserve the WWE Tag Team Championships. The match itself was a give-and-take contest featuring a slew of double-team maneuvers, including a Doomsday Blockbuster and a Spanish Fly into a Phoenix Splash. Pinfall attempts on both moves were broken up by the opposing team. A golden ratio to Angelo Dawkins took him out of the match, and Fraxium hit their top rope dropkick onto Montez Ford for the victory. The two teams celebrated with each other after the match, with the Street Profits showing Fraxium their due respect. Now, Nia Jax, she is the #1 contender for the WWE Women's Championship. Nia Jax has earned her next shot at Tiffany Stratton, but she owes Naomi an assist credit for her unprovoked interference and distraction. Nia Jax defeated Jade Cargill on the May 9th episode of SmackDown to earn the #1 contendership and right to be the next person to challenge Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship. However, Jade Cargill controlled the match until Naomi, Jade's rival, attacked Stratton, who was watching the match at ringside. That distracted Jade enough for Jax to get her in a position for the Annihilator, scoring the victory and the #1 contendership in the process. Alexa Bliss, she's back on WWE television and teamed with Zelina Vega. Alexa Bliss has been off WWE television since the Elimination Chamber PLE at the beginning of March. Now she has returned. On the May 9th episode of SmackDown, Bliss returned in her home state of Ohio as she teamed with Women's United States champion Zelina Vega to defeat the team of Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Bliss got the victory for her team, pinning the former WWE United States Women's Champion with the Sister Abigail DDT. Now, Fightful Select had reported earlier on in the day on May 9th that Alexa Bliss looked to be returning to the road imminently, and now she is back on WWE TV. It wasn't the only thing she did, though, because she did have a confrontation with former Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. Now, Flair appeared for the first time since WrestleMania 41, and things did not go the way for the Queen. Charlotte Flair hadn't appeared since losing to Tiffany Stratton in the Women's Championship match at WrestleMania 41. However, she returned to Friday Night SmackDown in Dayton, Ohio last night. She declared that she wanted to announce her path back to the championship, but the crowd in Dayton was vociferous with their jeers towards the Queen. Flair grew frustrated and flustered with the crowd and walked out of the ring without making her announcement. WWE SmackDown General Manager Nick Aldis would try to calm her down backstage and tell her to act more like a leader, but Flair just wanted to leave. However, before she could go, she was confronted by another returnee, that being the aforementioned Alexa Bliss, which you can see on the screen right there, suggesting that maybe they need to have a talk. The World Heavyweight Championship match between Logan Paul and Jey Uso, we now know when that may be. After Jey Uso dethroned Gunther for the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 41, Logan Paul was quick to step up as the first challenger on Raw. After confronting Uso and attacking him after the Red Brand went off the air last Monday, it was expected that a title match between both men would be made for Backlash tonight. However, a new report suggests that Uso and Paul won't be locking up just yet. According to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Paul's championship match with Uso is currently slated for the next edition of Saturday Night's Main Event on May 24th. John Cena is also expected to defend the undisputed WWE Championship that night, but Meltzer believes that having both champions put their gold on the line seems excessive for a television program, especially when it's rare for the company to feature both bouts at premium live events. That said, all plans are dependent on the outcome of Cena's title match against Randy Orton at Backlash this evening. Meltzer also noted that Saturday Night's Main Event has already sold 9,224 tickets in Tampa, Florida, with the Youngling Center making 9,762 seats available for the event, with the show expected to be a sellout. Outside of Uso and Paul's title match and Cena being heavily advertised for the show, no further plans have been revealed for the event later this month just yet. Now let's go over to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and a bit of a surprising result and outcome here. There's a new champion in New Japan. At the conclusion of New Japan Resurgence, it was not the CEO who stood tall, it was AZM. At the show, AZM defeated Mina Shirakawa and Mercedes Moné to win the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. The triple threat began with all three women doing a test of strength until Moné attempted a statement maker on AZM, but Mina broke it up and then attempted to get her opponents to dance with her. Spoiler, they did not. Moné had the advantage for much of the beginning of the match, even hitting a dual Meteora on the ring apron onto both of her opponents. Moné rolled Mina back into the ring, where the two battled each other. Mina attempted to go for Moné's knee until AZM got back in the match. AZM hit a double La Mystica on both of her opponents, but Moné reversed it into a pin attempt. AZM kicked out, and all three women found themselves on the top rope. AZM pushed them off before hitting a double stomp. Towards the end of the match, Mina stacked AZM on top of Moné and attempted a figure four. Both opponents found the bottom rope for a rope break. The three battled more, traded pin attempts, which ended with Moné outside of the ring, while AZM rolled up Mina Shirakawa to get the 1-2-3. Moné clearly was not happy, but AZM didn't care. She was the champion. Her opponents left the ring area, and AZM grabbed the microphone, spoke some Japanese before ending her interview saying, "I am so happy." So one less bout for the CEO. Speaking of New Japan Resurgence last night, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows proved they were in fact good brothers. The Good Brothers returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling on Friday night to team up with the Young Bucks in order to take on the Bullet Club War Dogs. It was their first match since leaving WWE, and the team proved they've still got it as the OG Bullet Club defeated the War Dogs after a back and forth contest. It was a battle of old versus new, but if the War Dogs thought this would be the case of the Young Lions putting down the older Lions, they were indeed mistaken. The match began with a brawl before the bell rang, with all 8 men fighting throughout the crowd and the entrance ramp. Nicholas Jackson nailed a dive from the stage, and eventually the two teams found their way back into the ring. The OG Bullet Club took turns beating up Clark Connors before hitting their signature pose. Eventually, the War Dogs made a comeback and the match was officially underway. The War Dogs continued to hold the advantage, so much so that Gabe Kidd, who was never afraid to speak his mind, called the Young Bucks the Young Cucks. Gallows attacked him and hit a sit-out powerbomb on Kidd. The two teams continued to battle, but eventually the OGBC got the advantage, with the Young Bucks hitting the EVP trigger on Gato, followed by the Meltzer driver off Gallows' shoulders. Finally, the Good Brothers got the win after hitting the Magic Killer on Gato. Anderson got the 1-2-3, and the OG Bullet Club proved that what's old is new again. After the match, the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers attempted a too sweet to the War Dogs, but the Dogs refused. Continuing with New Japan Pro Wrestling and New Japan Resurgence last night, Hiroki Goto retained the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at Resurgence. However, he did so on a technicality. The match's finish came when the former champion Zack Sabre Jr. pinned the champion with a bridge, but because both men's shoulders were down, it constituted a double pin and a successful retention on a draw. Zack Sabre Jr. became incensed and immediately locked the referee in a front face lock before disrespecting Goto and walking out. Now Goto will go on to defend the championship against Shingo Takagi at New Japan Dominion 2025 on June 15th. Continuing with New Japan, and Konosuke Takeshita has kept his gold in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Konosuke Takeshita took on El Phantasmo for the Never Openweight Championship at New Japan Resurgence, and it was Rocky Romero who played the difference maker in the match, helping Takeshita retain the title in an incredible bout. Friday's match was a rematch of their Wrestling Dontaku match from the week previous. And the two started out their match by running the ropes, before Takeshita hit a hard strike on El Phantasmo and slowed the momentum. Takeshita maintained control throughout much of the beginning of the match, but ELP hit a springboard moonsault to gain the advantage. It didn't last long, however, as Takeshita clotheslined him to the outside and followed it up with a dive. ELP sent Takeshita into the crowd and hit a big dive, ECW style. The two got back in the ring before El Phantasmo could take control. Rocky Romero distracted him, which allowed Takeshita to hit a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. ELP recovered and hit a Canadian Hammer. He then went to get a table, but before he could use it, Takeshita regained the advantage and brought ELP back into the ring, where he hit a Tombstone Pile Driver followed by a Bastard Driver. ELP no-sold the move and hit a big Lariat for a 2 count. Then, as we got into the final stretch, ELP hit the CRD followed by the Thunder Kiss 86. Before he could get the 3 count, Romero once again made his presence felt, pulling the referee out the ring and stopping the pinfall attempt. ELP finally got to use the table, powerbombing Romero through it. But when he got back into the ring, Takeshita was waiting with a rolling elbow, the power drive knee, and finally the Raging Fire to get the 1-2-3. After the match, Takeshita stuck out his hand for a handshake, and despite losing the match due to interference, El Phantasmo shook the hand of the champion. Bea Priestley is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Following the end of her 90-day non-compete clause since her February WWE release, Bea Priestley, formerly known as Blair Davenport in WWE, is in New Japan. She officially became a free agent on May 8th, and on May 9th she appeared in New Japan Pro Wrestling at Resurgence. While she had previously a career in Stardom before joining WWE, this was Priestley's first match under the New Japan Pro Wrestling banner. In her first match since her WWE release, she defeated Viva Van with Plan B. This is the first time she wrestled since the November 22nd, 2024 episode of SmackDown, where she lost a triple threat match to Chelsea Green. Now, going over to Ring of Honor, Deonna Purrazzo. She made history on Ring of Honor television this week. Deonna Purrazzo is no stranger to making history in professional wrestling. She's headlined TNA wrestling pay-per-view events, held TNA and Ring of Honor Gold simultaneously, and now she's competed in the first Women's Pure Rules match in Ring of Honor history. On the May 9th episode of Ring of Honor on Honor Club, Deonna Purrazzo forced Ashley Vox to submit to the Venus de Milo. The former C-Star had used up 2 of her allotted rope breaks, but was too far away from the ropes to use her third and final break. Ring of Honor recently announced the creation of the Ring of Honor Women's Pure Championship. The inaugural champion will be crowned through a tournament from which Purrazzo is participating in. Going over to WWE and Crown Jewel. Of course, previously the event has been exclusive to Saudi Arabia, but that's not going to be the case anymore. Since 2018, WWE Crown Jewel has traditionally been held in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but with the country hosting the Royal Rumble next January, it was announced that the event will instead be held in Perth, Australia. The show will be part of a mini tour for WWE titled Takeover Perth, with Raw and SmackDown also set to take place before and after Crown Jewel. Following the news last week, Dave Meltzer has provided a new update regarding future plans for the event in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. According to Meltzer, the annual Crown Jewel men's and women's title matches will be contested at the event, which was introduced last year for the first time. In addition, the top champions on Raw and SmackDown will go head-to-head similarly to last November, with the specialty matches returning to being a Saudi Arabia tradition in 2026. Meltzer also noted that Survivor Series will continue to host the men's and women's War Games matches, which will take place 1 month after Crown Jewel. 7 months ago, Cody Rhodes defeated Gunther, and Liv Morgan scored a victory over Nia Jax to become the inaugural men's and women's Crown Jewel champions. John Cena is also expected to make his final WWE appearance in Australia this October, as Crown Jewel will be one of the final premium live events of his 2025 retirement tour. Last week, Rhea Ripley and Grayson Waller, both of whom are Australian natives, visited the country for an extended period of time to promote the upcoming PLE. Io Sky reportedly is turning heads in World Wrestling Entertainment, still reflecting on the significant changes made under Triple H's takeover of WWE. Some can see comparatively the contrast of his vision versus the vision of his father-in-law Vince McMahon's when it comes to who are the flag bearers of this new era of the promotion. According to Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there's a new sheriff in town who is considered a breakaway star not only in the women's division but on the overall roster. No, it's not one of the 3 remaining 4 horsewomen, it's the genius of the Sky, that being current Women's World Champion Io Sky. In this week's newsletter, Meltzer noted that one person high in decision-making, unidentified as of this recording, mentioned that Sky has been considered a breakaway star this year, adding that her ridiculously great work rate, also combining with the fire and voice inflections that made Asuka a strong promo without speaking English, are what makes her a top star in the company. Not to mention, she is admired by her colleagues, whether as her opposition in the ring or on the same team as hers. Because of the energy she brings out night in and night out, those that she works with don't mind tailoring an out-of-ring segment or an in-ring match to showcase her shining abilities. Now, going over to AEW, Willow Nightingale reportedly is in a big year when it comes to her career. Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp has learned that Willow Nightingale is in a contract year with All Elite Wrestling, with the deal set to expire in a few months as things stand, though the exact date reportedly is unclear. Those that Fightful have spoken to within AEW claim that Willow is a priority for the company and someone they, of course, want to keep around. It's probably no surprise that Willow Nightingale is well liked within the company. All Elite Wrestling expects to retain Willow from what Fightful understands. Everyone that Fightful spoke to with believes it's a guarantee that Willow is offered an extension to remain with All Elite Wrestling. Of course, one of the biggest stories coming out of WrestleMania 41 weekend was the acquisition of AAA Lucha Libre by WWE. The exact nature of WWE's ownership stake in Lucha Libre AAA worldwide has now been revealed. Lex Latin has reported that WWE will own 51% of AAA when the acquisition of the Lucha Libre promotion is completed later this year in Q3 of 2025. The other 49% will be owned by Philippe, a Mexican sports and entertainment company. It remains unknown how much WWE and Philippe are paying to acquire AAA. It was noted that a major reason behind the acquisition was AAA's intellectual property. This led to an audit to verify their specific characteristics, validity, and legal status, as well as a review of the licenses and other contracts entered into regarding them, a lawyer for Philippe explained. A number of AAA's IP assets are currently involved in litigation, however. It was announced during WrestleMania 41 weekend that WWE would be acquiring AAA, although it was initially announced as if the acquisition had been completed. WWE's Jeremy Borash has already joined the AAA creative team, while WWE's Humberto and Angel are scheduled to work the upcoming Triple Mania show. El Grande Americano is also under consideration for the June 15th event. Several AAA talents have also since been signed by WWE, including AAA Mega Champion and former WWE Champion Alberto El Patron. And finally, some more details when it comes to the mass WWE releases last week. WWE carried out releases following WrestleMania 41, with 16 talents across the main roster and NXT being let go, while Shotzi was also informed that her contract was not being renewed and she'll be a free agent in July. Dave Meltzer has reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter that it was WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque who made the final call on the releases. It is unknown if he was told how many talents had to be cut, only that he had the final say on who WWE let go. The reports have noted that releases were carried out on the main roster due to the company wanting to bring new talents to TV. Talents released by the company were described as, quote, dead weight. Of course, the full release list of WWE releases on Friday, May 2nd are as followed. From the main roster, there was Dakota Kai, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance. From NXT, there was Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Eddie Thorpe, Jakara Jackson, Riley Osborne, Oro Mensah, Javier Bernal, Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, Wolfgang, Danny Palmer, and that was the list. Now, when it comes to one of the more surprising names, that was, of course, Dakota Kai. Now, she was, of course, very popular when it came to being on the roster and with fans. Kai's departure sees her WWE run come to an end after 8 years, save for a brief exit in 2022. And according to Dave Meltzer in the same Wrestling Observer newsletter, Kai's exit was said to have been a surprise internally within WWE. The former Women's Tag Team Champion was nearly unanimously praised backstage, but a combination of factors reportedly led to her release. One reason is due to the fact that Kai recently turned 37, while a source told Meltzer that Kai was never going to be used as a major name in the women's division long term, with Kai's future in the organization seen as a jobber to the stars figure, putting up-and-coming talent like Roxanne Perez and Julia, with Kai earning a significant salary when re-signing with WWE in 2022. The thought was it wasn't worth the money just to have her lose to the people on the way up. As for Kai's next step, some believe she will head to All Elite Wrestling, with Kai believed to have spoken with both AEW and Stardom following her brief WWE hiatus several years back. And when it comes to the reasons for these releases, as I mentioned, those names like Braun Strowman, Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, amongst others, were released from main roster deals, and there were some high-profile NXT releases as well. Per the same report from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there were multiple reasons behind the releases. For the main roster exits, WWE have categorized the decision as wanting to bring new people to TV, with those let go from the company believed to have reached their peak of usage and the term dead weight reportedly being used. On the NXT side, multiple factors came to play when releasing talents. The feeling was some of the talents were either lazy, had not improved enough as performers, were injury prone, or just weren't connecting with the audience. Gigi Dolan and Cora Jade have since fought back against the idea that they were lazy. The wave of releases was the second to occur in 2025, with an earlier round of releases in February seeing the likes of the Good Brothers and Bea Priestley departing WWE. But there you go, guys, the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Scan the QR code and you can join the members of the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. A reminder right there, you can see it. We're at 21,468 subscribers. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Join the ever-expanding WNU, that being the Wrestling News universe. And we will be live tonight for WWE Backlash for a watch-along and a post-show. The stream is already up, so you can go over there, set yourself a reminder, get involved in the chat, and I'll see you all again later on this evening.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.